Okay, hello everyone, it's me again. It is currently 10:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve, so just 1.5 hours to go, and I have decided to make this video. So in this video, I want to talk about this character I've been building in SSF. This is Toxic Rain Occultist. It's one of my favorite builds ever, and I wanted to make this video slash build guide and just share my thoughts on a character like this. So to provide a little bit of context, Toxic Rain Occultist is one of my most favorite builds ever. If you scroll down all the way to the bottom, you can see of my channel, you can kind of see this little video here. I play this back in Ultimatum League. This is one of my favorite builds. It's just Toxic Rain Occultist, It's just Toxic Rain with the explosions from Profane Bloom, which allows you to clear really well. And in addition, Occultist gives you a decent amount of damage scaling as well. So yeah, unfortunately this build has fallen out of the meta a good deal due to repeated nerfs to Occultist and Toxic Rain, and this kind of squishy archetype in general. But I managed to make it work in this league, Affliction, and I kind of want to just share my thoughts on the build and my experience playing it. So this is level 95 Toxic Rain Occultist, and the main thing that made me want to play this build is basically as follows. So I dropped in Ashes from a Valdos map, and then that's when I remembered Toxic Rain has a quality on it now that gives you 0.2 to base duration, and the initial duration is 1 second. So if you have Ashes at 30% and 20% on the gem itself, you can actually get 0.5 to base duration, which if the enemy stands still and you are able to ramp the full duration, which in my case is 2.85 seconds, that quality results in 50% more damage if the enemy is standing still, and you can ramp for 3 seconds, right? And then I also use this with one of the new Transfigure gems, which is Toxic Rain of Withering. And this has the same quality as well, base duration, but a lower value. And this one is interesting because it allows you to inflict 1 wither per spore pod. So here I have a yellow MTX on this one, which I have in Manaforged arrows, and I intentionally make the mana cost of the Toxic Rain of Withering 1/3 or less than the mana cost of my main 6-link Toxic Rain. So my main Toxic Rain costs 14 mana, and my Toxic Rain of Withering costs 3 mana. So then every time I fire, I get one of these yellow volleys. The purple volley is my main one, and the yellow one is the Withering. So as you can see, every time I fire, I get one of these Toxic Rain of Witherings, and every single one of these pods is 1 stack of Wither, right? Because it says on the gem. And it is my understanding that the Spore Pod applies Wither just by existing. So as long as a Spore Pod exists, it applies 1 Wither to nearby enemies. I don't believe it has to explode. I think it will apply, just when it is existing, but I can't exactly confirm that. But yeah, that's the main idea. Just use Ashes to really power up the duration of Toxic Rain, and then Toxic Rain of Withering and Manaforged arrows. And that basically allows you to permanently have 15 stacks of Wither, because you can attack really fast, and there's always going to be 15 of these pods. In addition, the Occultist Ascendancy actually gives you 1 Wither stack that lasts for 15 seconds every second, right? So you basically don't need any Wither links. You don't need to run Withering Touch in your Ballista, and you also don't need to use Withering Step, and you also don't need to use Spell Totem Wither. So it's purely automated Wither application, which I think was really cool. And then the third damage link is, just Ballista, right? Focus Ballista, Ballista Totem. You get 3 of these, and then every time you attack, let me zoom out a bit, you know, every time you attack, you get the ballistas firing every time that you attack as well. So yeah, so this build has 3 different Toxic Rains. You got the Ballista, which is green, and then the main one, which is purple, and then the Manaforged Withering one, which is yellow. And all 3 of these combined together is what makes this build, basically. And that was like the main synergy that I was going after, right? So let me just show you how the build plays in a map real quick, and then we can like dive into the build itself. So here I have like 4 sextants to demonstrate the mapping potential of this build. And I'll just run this. Minotaur has, you know, attack speed and crit, but hopefully it should be fine. Let's put Maven on that. Let's put it in. So yeah, this is basically how the build maps. My main intention of running this build was, you know, just to map with it. And I guess we can do a Wildwood as well, because why not? You know, it's Affliction League. Let's do it. So as you can see, you know, the movement speed is definitely the worst part about the build. It's just really hard to scale movement speed on an occultist. But as you can see, you know, the clear is pretty nice. And this build ended up having like 9 million DPS and PoE when everything was up. So I was pretty satisfied with it, you know. And this is also Primalist with charms. But my charms are not remarkable, they're just whatever. Alright, that was really bad for us, but whatever. Yeah. And then as for defensive layers, this build uses Ghost Dance. And it also uses Evasion, obviously, because Ranger. Oh nice, we can do this more as a side area as well. Minus 15 to max res. Okay, hopefully I don't die in here. But, yeah. This build is basically just Evasion and then Ghost Dance and then Lightning Coil and try to get a little bit of Taken As for the defensive layers. And that's basically it. And then I'm trying to run a... whoa. Well, that would happen. That's what happens when you get minus max res and you don't have Ignite immunity. We're just going to ignore that. We're just going to ignore that. Alright, let's not do that side area. That was a pretty crazy side area. But yeah, this build doesn't have Ignite immunity, unfortunately. Actually, this build doesn't even have Shock immunity. It should, though. This build should have Freeze, Chill, and Shock immunity. But I was too lazy to craft a boot that had Chill, Shock immunity. So I'm just playing without it. But as you can see, clear is like pretty okay. I'm not going to take the Shrine to showcase like the base fundamental operating level of this. I have also been able to do Oppenheimer Expedition with this. This is poison on hit, so it's kind of bad, but just put the totems down, pop the flasks, stack some pods, and you know, the Profane Bloom really shines in situations like this. On this build, you basically just want to continually shoot forwards and then like move, and I have punishment linked to Blasphemy, which allows me to apply curses on anything that's nearby. And then my second curse is Despair, which I'm self-casting. So yeah, this is basically how the build maps. You know, you can do essences with this as well, self-casted Despair. Yeah, that's basically it. You can also use a Manaforged setup instead of the Ballista setup. You do lose like 2-3 million damage by doing it, but you also gain more uptime in mapping. So maybe it's actually better to use a Manaforged setup on Toxic Rain. It's also important to note that... Oh, what is this? Never seen this item before. It's also important to note that every skill has its own cooldown with Manaforged arrows. So like you could probably run Toxic Rain and Toxic Rain of Withering. I'm actually not sure. I'm actually not sure that would work. Someone would have to test that out. But yeah. This build does kind of take a long time to kill like Affliction or Affliction empowered, Wisp empowered rares. But most of the time you can get them in a nice Profane Bloom explosion, so yeah. And then here we'll do the Minotaur. Oh wow, he got ghosted. That's unfortunate for me. Alright, well this is really bad. Alright, well he didn't get ghosted. Alright, well this is crit and vivid empowered. Yeah, the build kind of does... Maybe this is not the best demonstration of this build. Crit, attack speed, and empower. Yeah. Alright, well, not the prettiest, but, you know. The build does struggle a little bit, like when bosses get empowered, but I feel like every build struggles, because this build has like 9 million DPS in this scenario, but sometimes it feels like a lot less. But I guess that's just what happens when you empower bosses. So yeah, that was the build. And then I guess we can also like run a normal one to see what it would look like. So if we just run like a normal one of these, like without empowering, it'll be like super fast. I would still say that this build like maybe is still a little bit out of the meta. Like I feel like I've optimized this build a little bit, and I think I've taken it to as far as I can take it in SSF. But it seems like every league the monsters get stronger, and not every archetype gets stronger, so sometimes there's just nothing you can do. But yeah, if this was like, you know, like a league that did not scale the monster difficulty, then, you know, it'd be a pretty nice mapper. As you can see, and the pops are really satisfying as well. In my opinion, this is the only way to play Toxic Rain. Just play like a Toxic Rain mapping kind of character. With Profane Bloom. And like you don't even need Caustic Arrow, because with Profane Bloom, Toxic Rain can clear just as good. So here you'll see, you know, normal Minotaur without empowering it. I just put down the totems, I can like stand in everything, and look at that. That should go to show how overtuned the empowered ones are, because that died in like 1 second, but the empowered one took me like 30 seconds. That's 30 times more HP. That's messed up. But yeah, that's basically the build. Alright, what else is there to talk about? So yeah, so the main link is just Toxic Rain, you know. Toxic Rain, Empower, Efficacy, Awaken, Vicious Projectiles, Mirage Archery, Void Manipulation. You put it in a +3 bow like this. I actually messed this bow up. You're supposed to start on a hunter base and then do like, you get dot multi on it and then you annul everything else, and then you do like multi-mod cannot roll attack mods double exalt slam, which guarantees the hunter prefix increased damage mod and +1, and then you remove crafted mods, and then you do multi-mod attack speed and support gems. You're actually not supposed to start on a base that's not hunter, but I did not remember that, so my bow is a little scuffed. But it is what it is. It's SSF. And then the second damage link, like I mentioned, is Manaforged Arrow, Toxic Rain of Withering. And then you can also put Frenzy in this to get 3 Frenzy charges, which is perma uptime. Because you know the Frenzy comes out every time you attack, right? You can see that green thing going off. And then I just had like an empty socket here as well, so I put Decay. It's pretty important to not put something like GMP in here, because you may accidentally make the mana cost too high. Ideally, the mana cost of the Frenzy and the Toxic Rain of Withering is 1/3 or less than your main Toxic Rain. So I just happened to put Decay in here for a little more damage, I think it's like half a skill point of damage or something, so like why not? And then, you know, Toxic Rain Ballista. I don't even have a 6 link. I actually have enough fusings to get a 6 link, but I want to save it for a different build, so I just have, you know, the Ballista with Focus Ballista, Toxic Rain, Vicious Proj, Efficacy, and then Void Manipulation would be the 6th link. And then for the auras, I'm just doing Blasphemy Punishment with Malevolence and then Grace. And I have it Enlighten here just cause. And then movement skill is Dash. Oh, I also have Clarity as well to help with the mana sustain. And then Despair, which I'm self-casting for the effectiveness. I don't know why it looks so good when I cast this on like this hideout, but whatever. And that's about it for the gems. And then my items is basically just Evasion ES because I'm Ghost Dance. Just Evasion ES. You know, try to get as much attack speed on the glove as you can. Try to get spell suppression when you can as well. Gotta cap the spell suppression. And then, you know, just life and damage, basically. Life, damage, res. Quiver, dot multi, attack speed. You know, you gotta get as much attack speed as you can. Gotta have the attack speed implicit as well. Amulet is Ashes because, you know, that's the build. And then Corruption for damage. And then the rings, I opted to go for double Iolite rings. I think this is really important because this allows you to scale flat chaos damage, which is really important for Profane Bloom, right? Because Profane Bloom deals chaos damage. And the whole point of playing this Ascendancy is to scale the flat chaos damage aspect of your builds, which allows Profane Bloom to really shine. So I decided to go for double Iolite rings, and it's very important to get like life minus mana cost, because you gotta get your mana cost like super optimal, the 3-1 ratio of the Manaforged to the main one, and also for general sustain. So yeah, I try to get as much flat chaos as I could, including, you know, a cluster jewel that has 3 notables, all with increased chaos damage flat. And then yeah, ideally I would have another chaos damage over time small cluster, so I could get increased chaos damage Wicked Pal, as opposed to like, you know, projectile damage, which only scales Toxic Rain. But it's SSF, I just use what I could. And then in order to fit in all my auras, I did have to use a reservation cluster for Grace, or like Malevolence would work as well, just to like fit everything in. And then I have this Watcher's Eye as well. This is not optimal. Optimally, you would want dot multi on Malevolence, but I just happen to have Clarity mana as ES, which helps me with my Ghost Dance a little bit. Not really the best one, but you know, is whatever. And then yeah, I have a random jewel here, a little bit of chill immunity. Ideally, I would be using the combination of Garricon, Brine King, and then like crafted Chill Shock on my boots, but I just didn't happen to have it. I should also have action speed on the implicit of this, but I didn't want to spend my money on a mapping build, so I didn't. The red Eldritch Currency, that is. So yeah, that's basically it. And this is a tree, pretty standard Toxic Rain stuff. Ghost Dance, Reservation Efficiency. And then for the Toxic Rain breakpoint, we're going for 39% increased AoE breakpoint, which is generally considered to be pretty meta. You know, you got your AoE here as 20%, and then I'm getting 19% combined from my helmet and my glove. So I have 9% here, 10% here for 39 total. And then for Eldritch Implicits, just whatever, suppression, attack speed. This minus mana cost is really important for the Manaforged arrow mana cost optimization. Gotta get that reduced mana cost, and then a bit of Taken As. And then yeah, I would love to have action speed here, but didn't get the chance, or I just didn't want to. And the rest of the tree is pretty straightforward, just life, energy shield. One good thing about starting as a cultist is that you get access to melding, which gives you a pretty respectable amount of life and ES. So that's nice. And then it's just life, damage over time, chaos stuff. And the masteries are pretty straightforward as well. You know, mana cost and then flat life. And then, you know, this one for the 39% AoE. Suppression, obviously. This Chaos Mastery is actually, like, really good. Recover 1% of life per Wither debuff on enemy you kill. Because, again, every time you attack, you get this Manaforged, which applies 5 Wither. So, like, if you're just, like, continually attacking, you're going to have a lot of Wither stacks on enemies. So as long as you're killing stuff, you're going to be recovering, like, you know, crazy amounts of life per kill. Like, you know, 5, 10, 15% life recovered on kill, which is really good for mapping. And then I also took the more chaos damage dealt to enemies with ES. I mean, I guess you don't need this, but a lot of enemies just randomly have ES, so this helps. And then since it's a mapping build, I took dot multi if you killed recently. And then after I took all my damage and suppression and like movement speed and stuff, I basically just tried to go for as much life as I could. You know, the Blood Drinker wheel and the Herbalism wheel give you a lot of life. And that helps you get like 4.8k life with like roughly 1,000 shield for Ghost Dance. The only thing I wish this build had more of, I wish this build had more PDR and evasion. Oh, I also have 75 chaos res thanks to the Occultist Ascendancy, which allows you to get, where is it? Plus 60 chaos res, which is really good. And then, yeah, you also get damage from Void Beacon, damage from this Unholy Authority, which gives you punishment in addition to Despair. And then, yeah, Profane Bloom. I wish this build could have gotten more evasion and more PDR, but I was only able to get like 50 and like 57% PDR, or not PDR, but taken as. And I was only able to get 13k evasion, which is like really sad. That's only 62 evade, but I just don't know what I could have done to get more. I guess one other thing you could try is like, I don't know. I also thought about going EB, but it was just so far away. Like, I didn't want to spend 4 points to get that. But if I did go EB, I guess I could like do Divine Blessing Haste instead of Ghost Dance. I don't know. I don't know if that would be better though, because you're also spending 4 points to get that. And then you have to press Divine Blessing. And I also don't think Diadem is really that good. I don't even have one in SSF, but I don't even think a Diadem is that good because then you lose the reduced mana cost implicit. And you also can't get your AoE mod, which makes it a lot harder to hit the 39% breakpoint. So yeah, that's very unfortunate. But yeah, I guess just like by nature of having to go, you know, Lightning Coil and then like Evasion ES, and being a Cultist starter, you just naturally have bad evasion. I don't even know how I could get this up. Also, bow build, can't use a shield, right? So yeah. But, you know, it still maps pretty good. I got to level 95 pretty comfortably, just like running T16s with like 4 sextants. I also did do League Mechanic in every map, although sometimes the boss is just like really hard for you to kill. So I would recommend if you play this build that you have another build that can like kill bosses if they get like too ridiculous. But yeah, that's basically the build. And then as for the POB, which I'll link in the description, I basically just snapshotted my character as is. I don't even have a I don't even have a 6 link here in my POB, and it says I have this much damage. If we move the void manipulation here, you know, it would have like 9.9, right? So I guess I'll just leave it there for, you know, because it's a template. But yeah, that's basically my character. 9.9 million DPS. 15 stacks of Wither. Well, 9.9 if the enemy is on low life. 8 million if not. Frenzy charges from Frenzy, Manaforged, 4 overlapping pods from the 39% breakpoint. And yeah, that's basically it. 3 ballistas, 1 main Toxic Rain, and then I guess this as well can go in there. Oh nice, it's 10 million if you include Toxic Rain of Withering with Decay. Getting a whole 80k full DPS, 80k damage from Decay. Nice. What is the value of that? It's basically half a skill point. I'm getting half a skill point of damage from Decay support. Nice. And yeah, that's basically it. Oh, I should enable clarity in this POB as well. Yeah. Toxic Rain Occultist. I'm actually surprised that it says I have 10 million DPS. I did not expect to break 10 mil on this build. Because like when I was doing that Minotaur map, when I was doing the non-Wisp empowered Minotaur, it definitely felt like 10 million. But doing the Wisp empowered Minotaur, that was rough. But I guess they're just a little bit overtuned, right? But yeah, that's about it. I will link this in the description of the video. I don't know if I would recommend playing this build. I would say it's a decent build. You know, if you want like a chill mapper with explosions and Profane Bloom, you could give it a try. But it is ultimately a little bit out of the meta. The defenses and the recovery is unfortunately still not that good. And the movement speed is a bit slow. And like for this level of investment, you could probably play a much better build, like Bone Shatter. But yeah, I just wanted to bring back one of my favorite builds and see how it played in this league. And it was like not bad. So yeah. As for next build, I'm probably gonna roll Righteous Fire Chieftain again. But yeah. Okay, that's gonna be the end of this video. I'll link this in the description. I also stream sometimes on Twitch, twitch.tv/smokey_777. Yep. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. I wonder what would happen if I took off Decay support and I used life gain on hit. I wonder if that would be better. It's only 44 life gain on hit. I don't even know if it would matter. It would probably be better, honestly. I wonder if that would screw up my mana cost though. I should probably do this, huh? 54 life gain per hit. And main Toxic Rain costs 16. And then Withering is 4 and Frenzy is 3, so it's totally okay. Huh, I think I made my build better by doing that. So yeah, don't use Decay support in Manaforged, use life gain on hit. That would definitely help out the recovery a little bit. Despite the fact that the accuracy is, of course, 57%, but yeah. Huh, alright, cool. Alright, end of video. See y'all in the next one.